Most music artists are broke, and here's why. Number one, you don't have a job and you don't keep a job. Unfortunately, a common misconception with artists is that as soon as you start making music, that's immediately when your money is going to start kicking in. And that is just simply not the truth. You can get lucky and go viral and hopefully keep that momentum going. But more often than not, it takes years to get your footing in the business and in the industry. And it takes even more years to find an audience, grow an audience, and to monetize that audience and the attention that they give you. I think it's a big mistake for artists to not have a job, especially when they're first starting out, because you cannot be at your best creative self when you are worrying about basic life needs. Like, where are you going to live? What are you going to eat? Where are you going to take a shower? These are not things that you should be worrying about as a person. And unfortunately, if you do have to worry about those things, you don't have the energy or the mental capacity to focus on making your best art. My advice to you as a fellow creative would be to maintain a job. If you can, get a really good job that pays really well, fund your basic needs, and use that job to also fund your music journey, fund your music career. It is really expensive to make music and you need money. You cannot play unless you pay. And even though that is technically illegal through payola and all those other things, it is true. You cannot make it in this industry unless you have a little bit of coin to spend. So make your money, take care of your basic needs, invest in recording studios, mixing, mastering, photo shoots, video shoots, wardrobe. What is your signature look going to look like? What is your promotion going to look like? You need to be able to have something that is funding all of those things. Without it, you're not going to get far. The second money mistake that music artists make is spending all of your money to look like an artist, but not spending any of your money on marketing and promotion. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I run into artists all the time who look like something. They have the clothes, they have the look, they have the chains, they might have the car, they might have the house, but they are in crippling debt. A sad reality of music is that perception often is your currency. So if you look like you are somebody, people are more likely to want to talk to you. They're more likely to be interested in who you are and what you do. While you can look great and you can look like an artist, if you are secretly in crippling debt and you're not actually making the money that you look like you're making, you're actually giving a false representation of yourself and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to keep up. I've heard plenty of stories in the past few years of people who have been living large and they've been spending a lot of money and they've been doing amazing things. They've been seen around the hottest people, but they're getting kicked out of their homes. Their cars are being repossessed, or they're living in their cars. They don't have their own house. They're crashing on a homeboy's couch. They're living at someone else's place. There are so many things that people are going through that you don't understand, that you don't realize. And unfortunately, a lot of people are idolizing the artists or the people who look like they have so many things. They're not idolizing the people who actually have the things that they are after. And there's usually no money left over for the artist to spend on marketing and promotion. So you look good. You look like an artist, but you bought all your numbers. You bought your streams. You bought your fans. You are buying the perception. And as soon as you run out of money, what do you think is going to happen to all of those things? You can't maintain it. It's not sustainable. So it is better, if you are going to spend all of this money, don't spend it on the tangible things like clothes, cars, looking like something. Paying for features even can get you in a lot of trouble because the name is not going to get you in the door alone, right? You have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet as an artist. Instead, spend money on marketing and promotion. Spend money to get your music heard. Spend money so that people hear it. Spend money so that people see your pictures and your videos. And spend that money consistently. Get a budget, get a plan to always be pushing yourself in front of newer audiences so you can have a greater likelihood of being discovered. Make sure that your product is good. Make sure the music sounds good. Make sure the cover art and the videos look good. But if I had to choose a priority of which one is more important, it's more important to go after the audience so that you can monetize down the line versus looking like something in front of people right then and there. And yes, there is a trade-off. There are certain impressions that you want to make on people. But my advice that I would give you is to spend the money to gain your audience, to build your audience, and to figure out how to monetize your audience and then make your music actually good so that people want to stick around and keep listening to you. And then eventually you can come into your own and present in person how you want to be perceived as the great artist that you are. Third mistake music artists often make when it comes to money is spending all of the extra money that you make instead of saving it or properly investing it. Music is not one of those industries where you are guaranteed a paycheck every other week like a traditional job. You have to make sure that you are staying disciplined with your money. So you might not make anything for 1, 2, 3 months, and then you might hit a huge lick the next. Do not spend all of that money in one place because unfortunately, the nature of the business is very fickle and you do not know when you are going to get paid that large sum again. So my advice to you would be is to make sure that you have a system for your money. Make sure that you know your monthly quota for how much money you need to make to cover your bills and expenses and maybe a few of your wants and leisures. And then have a system in place to understand what you're going to do with any extra money that you make above that quota. Have a system for what's going to happen for any money that you did not make. What happens if you do hit a deficit? When you get that extra money, did you put it into a payroll cushion account? Or did you spend it on an upgrade for your car? Did you spend it on new clothes? Did you spend it on popping bottles in the club? Let's use an example of your expenses are $2,000 a month and you ran into a $10,000 payday in 1 week, right? You're not going to spend $8,000 that month. You're not going to spend $10,000 that month. You are still going to spend that $2,000, and now you have $8,000 left over that will carry you for your other months. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. That is 4 additional months that you could live off of that $10,000 income instead of spending it all that month and then wondering how you're going to survive the next. Be smart with your money. When you run into extra funds, make sure you have a plan for how you are going to carry yourself through the next month and the next and the next. Now, when you get to a certain point, then you can think about, all right, how can I treat myself a little bit because I have this savings goal, I have this cushion for X amount of months. But before you get to that point, don't just spend all your extra money in one go. And my fourth and final point for the mistakes that music artists make when it comes to their money is not understanding the business. This is the music business. So what you need to understand is, yes, the music is the product, but you are selling the product. Don't you want to make money from your product? How are you going to make money if you haven't set yourself up on the back end? You can get upfront fees for performing at shows, selling merchandise, or being a feature on someone else's record, but what about the back end of things? Are you making sure you're getting paid your royalties? To get paid royalties, you have to be set up on the back end. You're gonna need things like a PRO, which is a performance rights organization. In the United States, that is mainly ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. You are going to need something like a sound exchange. You're going to need something like the MLC, which is the Music Licensing Collective. And I also need to mention Song Trust. You're going to need a digital distributor, whoever you choose for that to be. That's going to be CD Baby, DistroKid, TuneCore, United Masters, and there are a few new ones that are popping up every day. You need to make sure you have these things in place because these are the things that are going to collect your money on the back end. Every time somebody streams your record, you get paid. Every time somebody places your song in a YouTube video, or when your song gets placed in a TV show, in a movie, something that has a rerun and a percentage of that is going to royalties, you want to make sure that you're set up on the back end to be paid for every single stream and occurrence that happens. Unfortunately, newer artists think that they're going to make all of this money, but they never stop to think, oh wait, how does this money actually get generated? How are these sales actually tracked? So it would be worth your time to figure out how you are going to get paid for all of the hard work you're putting into making the art and releasing the art. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And in the comments, make sure you let me know what topic you want me to talk about next. My name is Lexi. Stay tuned for the next Lex Chat. But until then, peace.
And if you're the leader, how'd we end up at this dead end? I cannot forget anything unless it's been forgiven. You've been holding me back, I can't get in my bag without you getting in your feelings. Why you in your feelings? We ain't nothing without trust, and that should be a given. Ever wonder why we don't have no understanding?